Hi, this is Dan Maher. Welcome to Math 98, Section 5136, the summer online course, which is a compressed schedule. So there's a lot of work to do in a short period of time. So hopefully you'll keep up to date with the schedule that I've set. But here's our syllabus. Here's my email address, which is I do check, and here's my cell phone number. You can text, those kinds of things. But there's some things set up on my math lab if you haven't been in there before, which will help you communicate with me too. So here's the book edition, and you can get the paper book is optional, but you do need the online access code of my math lab. That is not optional. There is an online version of the book that you can use on your phone. There's a pretty good app that you can get through the book pretty well on a smartphone. So you could have that and work on your computer on the My Math Lab as a separate deal, but that's up to you. We're going to go through these objectives. I do recommend that you get a TI-30 equivalent calculator. You probably can't get TI-30s anymore. There's like 34s and so on. But it's a non-programmable calculator that will allow you to use on tests. So it would be good to get used to how that functions so you're comfortable with it when you're taking a test. The objectives we're going through are here. This really starts in Chapter 4, is where we get into Math 98 objectives. I do review math class Math 93, which has prior knowledge information that is essential to get through this course. Tests are face-to-face proctored. That means you'll have either me supervising the test. I provide 2 sessions on the day of our chapter tests, and or you can OMAC, you can go to the testing center, schedule it there, and take the tests. And I do allow Central Washington regional librarians are trained to be proctors too. It depends on the library. You need to get it pre-approved for those. I grade on a weighted system. 10% of the grade is homework, 30% of the grade are quizzes, which are, I'll explain a little bit. And the tests are a majority of your quarter grade are those supervised tests that you can only take with scratch paper and one of these TI-30 equivalent calculators. I do the letter grades as laid out here. My Math Lab is a platform that we're working on, and we'll do our homework, the quizzes, and the tests will be done on that platform. The only difference is with the tests, it'll be supervised. You can get onto this platform right away, even if you don't have financial aid or if you're waiting for some money. You get 2 weeks free on this tool, so you'll be able to get in there and get to work. Do not wait, especially on this summer quarter. If you wait for some reason to access this and you're late, you're probably not going to make it through this course. So do not do that. You can go in and get temporary access and then pay and get full-time access. This access code will work for Math 99 depending on the teacher that you take. A lot of the teachers in this math department use this platform. This tells you how to log in specifically to this summer course. All the information's there. You can purchase the access code online. You should check with the bookstore though, they might have a better deal. and you can pay with credit card or PayPal. And if you don't pay at that time, you get temporary access down here. And then here's how to sign in later after you've registered. When you do this, register, use an email address on this platform that you check at least daily. What I recommend, if you do check email on your phone, make sure the email address that you check is coming in on your phone, because that's the method we're going to communicate primarily in the summer, is through email. If you do not check your student email on your phone, or if you're just logging into Canvas every once in a while to check it, that's not the right address to use. So make sure it's one that when there's an email sent out about something special going on for this class, that you get it. There's some stuff about dropping. That's not correct. I forgot to take that out. That's from spring quarter. Homework. The goal and the way this platform works, if you haven't been on it before, when you answer the question, it'll tell you whether you got it correct or not. And if you didn't get it correct, it'll offer sometimes some ways or resources that you can get to the correct answer. So it is a reasonable goal to try to get 100% on all your homework. I don't see that happen, because it does take quite a while to do your homework. And, so time management's part of that. If you didn't do real well on your homework grades, it's not going to affect more than 10 points or 10% of your quarter grade. And but that is not an excuse not to do your homework. I've never seen anybody pass my classes unless they do their homework, because in the homework is actually embedded the lecture material that will explain what's going on with each section of the book. There's a lot of nice interactive material you can access, and that's part of those homework assignments. The quizzes are given during the scheduled dates. We'll go through the schedule here a little bit, but they actually open up. They'll be open for around a week usually, and you're allowed to take multiple attempts at these quizzes, and I only use the top score. So what that makes available is the ability to take the quiz like a test, like a practice test. And that's what I recommend. The first attempt at that quiz should be to take that like you're taking the chapter test, with just scratch paper and a calculator. And what that does, a lot of times when you're doing your homework, you think you're doing really well, and it might be just one minor thing that you're missing, which you kind of blow off after a while. You get this little cue that cues up something that you forget. And without that cue, you don't get any of those questions right. Well, test that, or basically in the quiz, you have the ability to see if there's something that's causing that to happen. You might get a real poor grade on your quiz because you're just missing. A lot of times it might be just one, maybe two smaller pieces of information you're not fitting into this chapter correctly, and it can make a big difference on that. So that would be a cue. You say, oh, I'm not ready for this test. And then go back. You can review the questions you got wrong. Hopefully you can see that there's a pattern. Get your book out and say, number 22 I got wrong, and look at that problem again, and hopefully figure out what's missing, or what pieces of knowledge that you don't have to succeed at those kind of questions. And then I'd take the quiz again like a test and see how you do. But that last attempt, there's usually 3 attempts at each quiz. This is a graded assignment, so the last attempt, even if I got like an 80 or a B on the second attempt, I'd shoot for an A on that last attempt, because I can that affects my quarter grade. So with that last attempt, I'd open up the book, go through it, and maybe look up anything I'm not absolutely sure of before I submit the quiz. And the tests are given during scheduled times. There's 1-day windows for the test schedules, where other quarters I have 2 days, but since we have less time in the summer, there'll be a day that we can take the test on, either with a approved proctor by me or on the OMAC campus. But what I do is in Wenatchee, I'll have a morning session on campus in Wenatchee Hall, and an evening session that same day in Wenatchee Hall. So you'll have 2 opportunities to take this chapter test on that day in Wenatchee. And so hopefully that will accommodate anybody's work schedules. So then there's some that talks about that. It is 60% of your grade, so you will need, and your goal should be, as I need to do well on these tests. There's special population things. If you have any accommodations, make sure that somebody at the college notifies me. Here's the schedule for summer quarter. The intro homework is due on Monday the 24th, the first day of class. We have a review assignment the next day, and that's a long review of chapter 1. Like I said, we're going through the course material in Math 93, so it's just 3 chapters kind of just heaped into 3 different assignments and 3 quizzes. So in 2 days we're taking a quiz on that chapter, and then same thing in that. So on right before July 4th, we're going to have a proctored test on chapters 1, 2, and 3. And that is a pretty good marker point for students if you're not prepared for Math 98, it might come out during this test. Or, you can see, hey, I'm ready to go. And the reason I do that is like adding fractions, the kind of things that are covered in Chapter 1, Section 3, and are to know the rules about how that works, not some memorized technique, is really crucial when we get into this level of algebra. And then after that, it's kind of pretty much a homework assignment a day. A quiz will open up, and this will open up probably a few days before this, and then it'll be due usually on the same day as the proctored test. So on the 18th of July, we'll have a test over Chapter 4, and I'll do a morning session that I'll put out. I also have a RSVP form that I send out, which is a graded assignment, but it goes out, and then you put into the form where and when you're going to take the test. So that's what this means, RSVP due. So on that Thursday in the morning, there'll be a session here in Wenatchee Hall, and in the evening, usually start about 5:30 or so. I think it's scheduled in there 9:30 start and a 5:30 start. And I do 2-hour sessions, so you don't have to be there right at the beginning. You just need to start the test at in an amount of time that when I end the session, it's going to be enough time for you to finish the test. So Chapter 5, homework, quiz, test. 6, homework, quiz, test. And then the final in August 15th and 16th will be when you'll have a take-home final. That's a longer test over all the material we've covered, and you will be able to work on that on your own, just like you got handed a piece of paper test. It'll be on the My Math Lab platform. But you'll be able to work an hour or so and then log out and come back and work some more if you want. And then when you submit that test, that means you've handed that in. And then on Friday, the 16th of August, it'll just end. And then whatever you have done will be graded. So that's a quick deal of the syllabus. And then I'm going to do another video here to talk about what the platform looks like and how we interact with it in the course. There's a lot of things you can do on the platform. I've focused in on some things that work within this class, and we'll talk about that.